Each year at Easter, many Christians build an empty tomb like this in one of their churches. We haven't been able to do that this year, so instead I've created a mini version in my own home. Hello everybody, it's lovely to see you all today, and this is the last in our series of the Easter story. Now today is a really happy day, and so I'm really glad to tell you about this part of the story. Yesterday you heard Phil talking about a really sad day when Jesus was put to death on the cross. Well, this part of the story takes place 3 days later, and it's a really great part of the story, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. So you'll see here that we've got our Easter garden that I've been working on. Here we've got the start of the journey and the start of the story, which was when Jesus rode into Jerusalem on a donkey on Palm Sunday. Here we've got the water that Jesus washed the disciples' feet in, and here's the bread and the wine from his Last Supper with his friends. Over here we've got a bit of a reminder of the night that Jesus was in the Garden of Gethsemane when his friends fell asleep and he prayed to God and felt very alone. And then finally over here we've got the cross that he died on. Now the great part of the story today, which I'm hoping you can see here, is where Jesus was buried and then the empty tomb, and I'm going to come on and tell you that story. Maybe for your craft today you'd like to have a go at making some or part of this, and I'm going to put the link in the video so that you can actually have a look at this and get the guidelines on how to make this Easter garden. After the Sabbath, Mary Magdalene and 2 other women set out at dawn to visit the tomb where Jesus had been laid. As they reached the entrance, they were startled by the dazzling figure of an angel who said, "Do not be afraid, for I know that you are looking for Jesus who was crucified. He's not here. He has risen just as he said. Come and see the place where he lay." Like the women, Christians look into the empty tomb to remember that Jesus, God's Son, was crucified. But after 3 days, he rose from the dead. They believe this is the greatest miracle the world has ever known. Maybe you could take a few minutes to think how the women might have felt when they heard the angel's news. So here's the Easter garden craft that I talked about earlier, and here's what I've made over the last 3 days to think about the different parts of the Easter story. If you'd like to have a go at making this, then just have a look at the website link at the bottom of the page. You can pause the video here while you go and look at this online, and it'll give you all the instructions on how to build this lovely Easter garden. Jesus was put to death on a cross, just like an awful criminal. It was a terrible way to die. But the fantastic news is the end of the story is that on the 3rd day, on Easter Sunday, he came back to life again. And Mary, his mother, and Mary Magdalene, and lots of the disciples as well, saw him in the days after this. Now, because of this new life, this is why we celebrate on Easter Sunday with Easter eggs, which are a really lovely sign of new life. Now, I'm really sorry I'm not going to be with you all this year to share in the chocolate and enjoy that with you, but I'm hoping that you're all going to be able to enjoy some chocolate and think about the new life and the great message of the Easter story. So it's been lovely to spend this time with you, and thank you very much for watching.